Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Grace. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about moving to the United States to study nursing. I have gotten some questions about it and I decided to make a video so that I could clear up whatever queries people had, talk about it a little bit, give them some direction or some insight into what they're trying to get into. Now, I do understand what would draw people to come to the United States to study nursing in particular, because there is market for nurses here and the pay is good. So if you manage to actually come here and do that profession, you should be set in your career and you can actually climb the ladder along the way. And some people get to be CEOs or CNOs or anything else that you want to do. It can be a stepping stone for you as you come over here to study. It could make your life better, or you can use it as just one of the stepping stones as you progress in whatever you want to do. So first things first, how do you get here to study the nursing? You can go to my website and check on my blog, and you can find the article on this subject. So I've written down some notes so that I can keep track of what is going on and so that I do not waste your time. So the first thing is looking for the exact kind of education that you want. There are multiple levels to the nursing education, so you may be looking to get an associate degree to go to nursing. But even before that, there are others. There's like a certified nursing assistant, that is a certificate. You can do a licensed professional nurse. That would be a diploma. And then you can start being like a registered nurse with an associate degree. So there's an associate degree for that. There's a bachelor's degree for that. There's a master's degree for a registered nurse, but you can also do one as some kind of practitioner. And then obviously there are doctorates in nursing. So you have to look for the exact program that you want to come and do. The best for you if you're coming from Uganda or any of the African countries over here and you want to get a job, you're trying to start working as soon as possible, I would advise you to become a registered nurse. And I would tell you to get an associate degree if you do not have the funds to pay for a bachelor's, because most associate programs are cheaper than the bachelor's degree. But you can choose one based on your finances, the cost, whatever you want to do. It's based on your income. And then based on the program that you want, look for the school that you want. There are expensive schools here that cost north of 50,000, some even go to 70 and 100,000 per year for you to go to school. And then there are some that are cheap, that you could spend 10,000 or even less to go to school. So you should choose your school, the one that you want to go to, based on that and many other factors. You can base it off of the state, because you may have family in a particular state or you may just want to live in a particular state. So that could also influence the school that you choose. The accommodations that they have, the scholarships that they offer, the job market that they have. All of these things may influence the school that you go to. So choose wisely, and then from there you can move on to the next stage. The next stage is preparing an application for that school. So based on the school you have chosen, they're going to give you their application requirements, which may include some kind of test. I did the SATs, but I do not know what test your university or your college is gonna ask you to do. So you may have to do an English test, some kind of other standardized test. So do whatever test that you need to do. When I did the SATs in Uganda, I did them at the International School of Uganda. On my website, I have that information for the location and the phone number, and I'm gonna link it in the description of this video. So I went to the website, I applied, I chose the date, and even they gave me a time to come and do the test, and I did it. I had to pay for the test, and I'm the one who did the preparation for my test. There are people who have businesses that do tutoring. I did not use those services. I sat down and studied for my test. I found out that the test was general knowledge, so some maths, science, and a lot of English. The English part is mostly reading, writing, and comprehension. So if you have just come out of school, like if you've just finished senior 6 and everything is still fresh in your mind, you may just sit for that test and you would pass, because everything that you have been learning this entire time is what they're going to ask you to do. The only thing I would caution you on is the timing. They timed this test. The SATs that I did, they timed the test. So they gave you a booklet with everything that you needed to test on, which was math, English, science, and they were divided in sections, and they would time you on each section. There was an invigilator in the classroom, and they would say, you got 50 minutes or 1 hour to do this part. And they would let you know, like, you got 25 minutes left before we finish this part. 5 minutes. And then when the time is up, they would tell you move to the next section. You know? So that caught me off guard. You have to be on your P's and Q's, know your stuff, because there is not a lot of time for you to think about it. You have maybe 1 or 2 minutes max to do a particular question. So if you spend so much time trying to think of just one question, you're not going to have enough time to answer everything. And it does not matter if you haven't answered everything on that particular part of the test. When the time is up, you have to move on to the next part. So you should keep that in mind when you're doing whatever test you're doing. I did the SATs, and that's how I did it. That's what happened when I was doing it. The application, whatever is required of you is what you need to do. The tests, they're going to ask you to submit some kind of letter with your application. It may be a reference letter, and you may have also one like a personal statement. You may have one with recommendations. You know, you're applying for a position, so whatever they ask you to do is what you should do. The other part of the application process is tuition and living expenses. They're going to ask you to submit proof that you can afford their education. Can you afford our tuition? Can you afford to live on our campus? Because you're probably going to need accommodation, because you cannot fly from wherever you're flying from, wherever you're leaving. Say you're in Uganda, you cannot fly from Uganda to wherever you're going every day. So you're gonna need some kind of accommodation. Can you afford it? So the proof that they want is a bank statement. Now this bank statement does not need to be yours. It could belong to somebody who is close to you. They have to write a letter saying that they're willing to support you with this bank statement. You know, they have this kind of income and they're able to support you. So they're going to need that. The other thing you can look for while you are looking for the school is if they have scholarships, grants, and financial aid. Most financial aid is for US citizens or permanent residents, like somebody with a green card. So people over here are going to be talking about their financial aid and the loans that they can get, but those are not for people who are not from the United States. So you can take that off your list, unless you're coming here with a green card. Then, you know, all bets are off the table. You can do whatever you want. Now for the scholarships and grants, look into it, but take it with a grain of salt, because most of the scholarships that are gonna be offered, they're gonna have like at the first sentence, they're gonna say for US citizens or permanent residents. That's the first thing they're gonna have. During my time at school, I applied for so many of them, and there are some that even had like the only requirement was to write a small essay. But every time I tried, they said you're not a US citizen. I was able to get one scholarship from a community association, and they only gave it to me and 2 other people because we are the only ones who applied. One lady was Mexican, I'm from Uganda, and the other person was a Nigerian. We are the only people who applied for this thing. Like, we are the only people who met the merit that applied for this thing. The other people do not apply. I even worked for the school doing tutoring, and the department I was working in was offering scholarships, and one of the things that we had to do was let them know like they have scholarships, and every time you told somebody, they said it was too much work. So they may have scholarships, but they may not be for you. But you can still look into it, just in case they have something for international students. I'm not sure. But if they do, that would be a good thing that could, draw you to that school, to that university, to that college. The other thing that is so important is their work opportunities. When I came here and I tried to get a job, there are a lot of people who are hiring. They are hiring for jobs that a lot of people did not want. Cleaning jobs, babysitting, whatever, anything. It was illegal for me to work. It is illegal for anybody to work without a social security number. To get a social security number, you have to file all the necessary paperwork. And when I finally applied for it, they gave it to me with a restriction. The restriction was that I could only work at the school that I was attending. So look into their work programs to see if they offer work. My school was small, yours could be bigger. They could have more opportunities for you to work. The opportunities that were at my school were working at the cafeteria, so like serving food. There was tutoring. I was able to get tutoring jobs at the school, but they only lasted when school was in session. When school was out of session, I didn't have a job because they did not offer tutoring during that time. Also, the hours were limited because it's only when school is in session. So like between 8 and like 5 p.m. and I had to do my tutoring hours alongside my class hours, and I cannot do them at the same time. So I had to go to school and had to go to work. So I was working like 2, 3, maybe 4 hours a day, which didn't make a lot of money. The other job that I got was like working in the housing. So in like, they had apartments, and I worked there as a leasing assistant and a residential assistant at different times. It did not pay too much. They allowed me to stay for free, which was okay. But the thing is that I was essentially tied to this job. I could not leave. If I left the campus for an extended period of time, say I went to visit somebody for even a day or 2, that means I hadn't worked that time and I needed to pay them back in money. So I did not have any vacations during that time. I was working those jobs, and most of my time I was just at school. I was either studying or working. That was it. So look into that. That could help you with your housing, and then you can use the rest of your money to pay tuition. I don't know what is gonna work for you, but if that does, if you're looking for a job to work on campus while you're studying, look into their work programs to see if you can do work study. The next thing, after, say you have done everything that they need for you to come to the school and they've given you an acceptance letter, the school, they'll send you something. Usually it's via email, or they'll send it even by mail if you have somebody here who can receive it for you. So they'll send you the acceptance letter. Now you got that, you got the school. The next part you have to do is apply for a visa to travel to the United States to study. That visa, the one for students, is usually called an F1 visa. So that's the one you're trying to apply to so that you can come over here. You're obviously going to go online to their website, the US Embassy, and try to book an appointment. You know, you're trying to get an interview. During this interview, you're gonna take all this information that you have acquired, the acceptance letter from the school, the bank statement from whoever you got it from. That person is gonna be your sponsor. So the letter that you sent the school to say that that person is gonna be covering your expenses, that's the letter you need to take with you. You are also going to need all your legal documents, your ID, your passport, everything that you need, you're gonna take with you for this interview. And you're gonna be prepared to answer the questions. They're gonna ask you what you wanna do, what you have been doing here before you've decided that this is what you wanna do. You know, what are you going to do after you get that education? All these questions, they're gonna ask you, where are you going to stay? Where is this school? Too many questions. Just be prepared for them to ask you anything. Part of the documents that you're going to take is also going to be an I-20, and hopefully you've paid the service fee. It's a fee that is required for you to get the I-20, and then you're also going to need it to get the interview. It's a little process. It's going to require some little money, but you can get over it. It can happen in like a day or two. If you have the finances to pay for the service fee, you're good with the I-20. But that's part of the documentation that you're going to need to get the visa. So you should brush up on what you need for the visa. What are the visa requirements? It's going to be your I-20, your service fee, the acceptance letter from the institution that you're going to be studying at, all your identification documentation, definitely the bank statement, just everything that you need, just take it with you. When you're all done with the interview and everything, you'll probably get the visa. I'm saying probably because some people have been rejected, but you know, it's possible to get the visa. So let's say you get the visa. All right, the next thing after you have gotten your visa is trying to figure out how you're arriving, traveling, and settling into, you know, the United States. So your ticket. Have you bought your ticket? Tickets can be expensive the closer they are to the travel date. So if I'm flying today, that is the most expensive ticket that I can buy. If I'm flying out next year, that's the cheapest ticket that I can buy. So the closer you are, the more expensive it is to buy the ticket. So think about that. Also think about the accommodations. If you hadn't already settled them, now is the time to settle them, now that you have the visa. Whatever accommodations you are looking for, now is the time to get them, call people, figure out what's going on. And then definitely you do the traveling, and then there's adjusting to the culture, the way people do things around here, what is expected of you, what people dress, cook, eat, listen to, all that. Now, these are just tips to keep in mind, you know, to help your life get easier. Start early. Start it as early as possible so that you're not constrained. There is different times that school starts. There is fall, there is the spring. Obviously, there is also summer school, but keep those dates in mind while you're trying to apply. Stay organized because you're going to need all this documentation along the way, especially for your visa interview. Seek guidance from your school's international student office. Mine wasn't perfect. Most of the time we were the ones telling the officer what to do because they did not know what they were doing. We had to hold their hand and let them know this is how it works. It doesn't work the way you think it is. This is how you do this. This is the document that I need to do this. They didn't know it because they've never gone through that process. As an international student, I had more on the line than them, so I had to do the work. I had to hold their hand and show them what I needed to do. But your school may be different from the one I went to, and they could be more helpful than my international student officer was. Look for them, look to those people for advice, and hopefully they're able to guide you. They should have everything, and even on their websites. Most of these institutions have websites, and you can go and see what is needed of you or how they can help you. If you're not that good at English, I would advise you to develop better English language skills because that's the language that they speak here, and everything that is asked of you is probably going to be done in that language. So I would advise you to get better at it. You're possibly going to do a test on it. Your interviews are going to be in it. And in school, they're going to teach you in English. So I would tell you to become more proficient in it. Last but not least, I would tell you to utilize whatever resources and social media that you have at your disposal. There is so much information on this topic out there that you should be able to help yourself with it. Go online and figure out what you need. If you have questions, ask that question in Google. You'll probably find an answer for it. If you have stayed for this entire video, thank you for watching. I hope the information that I'm giving you is helpful. Or if you have somebody who needs this kind of information, please send them the link. I also have some information on my website, on the blog. In the future, I'm going to try to make better videos and also get a program started so that we can make this thing smooth, like a transition from nursing either in Uganda or even in the United States straight into the job market. I'm working with my mom on some project. I don't know if it's gonna work out. If it does, that will be great. My mom is a nurse in Uganda, and she sends me questions and information from people back home who want to try out whatever I'm doing. They want to be nurses in the United States, and I'm doing it right now. So she sends me their information, she tells me about their stories, and I did not know how much people wanted it. I did not know how much I could help. I hope I'm doing you a service by making these videos, by doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna try harder. Obviously, I need help from different people to get this thing started, get something started to help you. But I hope this video is beneficial to you. I hope it helps you. I'm gonna be making more videos, especially on the people who are already nurses back home and they wanna come here and try to do something with their nursing here. I'm gonna look up information to help me, and then I'm gonna be making a video. Hopefully by the end of next month, I should have something up. I'm gonna be digging up a lot of stuff. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.